Breaking news out of Bangladesh, where the Supreme Court has scaled back a ruling by the High Court to reinstate a job quota system. So in June, the High Court brought back a system that reserves 30% of government jobs for relatives of veterans who fought in Bangladesh's War of Independence. Well, after violent protests this week, the Supreme Court has suspended that ruling and brought forward an August 7 hearing on the matter. A nationwide curfew does remain in place, and it's been extended indefinitely. That's as security services try to quell the protests. And details on the top court's ruling will become clearer in the coming hours. But we know that at least 114 people have been killed so far, thousands injured in a violent crackdown by the police and military. We'll bring in our correspondent, Tanvir Chowdhury, who's joining us from Dhaka to talk us through the Supreme Court's decision and what it means when Bangladesh's top court says that it's scaled back the quotas.
Well, essentially, you might as well say it's almost scrapped. Out of 100%, 93% is now open. It's based on merit, like as anybody can participate in any government job. Among the 7%, 5% will go to the family members of the freedom fighters of 1971 Liberation War. That could mean grandchildren, children, or some immediate family member. And 2% is reserved for indigenous people, people physically challenged, and transgender people. So that is the verdict today, basically scaling it down to say that 93% is open to everyone, and out of that 7%, 5% for freedom fighters and 2% for physically challenged indigenous people and transgender. So after 2 weeks of violent protests and everything, finally we have a verdict. Will it come down the population that have been protesting? It's hard to say, because the students have been saying that, look, just the quota abolishment is not only thing right now. There is too much bloodshed. Hundreds of people have been killed and injured all over the country. A lot of the quota leaders and coordinators I've been talking to, one of the top leader was picked up day before. He's still missing. He was picked up by detective police. His name is Nahid Islam, and there's no trace about where he is. Many politicians were picked up, including the opposition senior top leaders. There's one person called Nurul Haq Nuru, who was a former student leader. He has a party now, Gone Adhikar Forum. He's picked up. He's not missing now. Police say we don't know where he's about. We've seen videos among our colleagues who filmed these things in different parts of the city and other parts of the... Such violent videos I've hardly ever come across. Police shooting people at point blanks, youngsters, just at point blank. None of these are aired in local TV. TV is highly censored. Now all we hear is about the damage and arson that was committed. Nothing about the killing, the number of people in the medical. Newspaper is hard to come by. There's no internet. Telecommunication is very erratic. Phone call drops. So people are literally blind. There is a communication blackout. And when you talk to people in the street, the anger is not just about quota. It's a pent-up frustration about bad economy, high inflation, soaring food price for the last 2 years. So people actually came out from all walks of life supporting the student. This is going to be hard to quell that anger in the street. People say we're not going to forgive the number of people killed by the police in such aggressive way. So this is something we have to see how the fallout from all this happens.
Yeah, Tanvir, we'll wait to see whether this decision satisfies the protesters. But what do we think this could mean for the security situation in Dhaka in particular, where you are?
It's very eerily calm. There's heavy presence of military, paramilitary, and police. As we speak, there's clashes going on certain parts of the corner of the city in different locations, because we have colleagues in those places and we're getting calls and sharing information, and even other parts of the country, not in the same scale last 2 days. So people are wondering if this is going to actually quell the unrest that's been going on past 1 week. And the heavy-handed tactics the police have used really angered general population. It's not just the student. So the government is kind of feel like a bit insecure, which is why they deployed army, because they couldn't handle the protests anymore. And they wanted the army under civil administration to bring things under control. And the curfew is still on from local time 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. There'll be 2 hours break and still on for indefinite periods. The government declared 2 days general holiday, today, Sunday, and tomorrow, Monday. For whatever reason, we don't know that. So everything is very basically on the air. We don't know what will happen next because it's so dynamic and fluid, the whole political situation and things on the ground.
Okay, Tanvir, we'll let you go for now, but we will be speaking to you in the hours to come. Thank you so much for that update from Bangladesh.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.